Well, for more on this, joining us live from Perth in Australia is Alexey Muraviev. He's an associate professor of national security and strategic studies at Curtin University. Welcome to you. Alexey, how successful do you think this first peace summit on Ukraine held in Switzerland was, and why did it take place now?
Well, in terms of measuring its success, I cannot say it was successful because when you have fewer and fewer countries agreeing to eventually join the summit, then you have disagreements during the summit that even fewer countries compared to the number that formally attended the summit. I think some 90 countries attended the summit. 78 ended up signing the declaration, and that including that's excluding two last-minute withdrawals of signatures coming from Jordan and Iraq, and also the agenda that was initially proposed, that was initially leaked almost a year ago, that was supposed to be comprehensive, that was supposed to be talking about Ukraine's territorial integrity within the boundaries of 1991, withdrawal of Russian forces, post-war reparations, the list goes on, now been reduced to just a mere collection of points ranging from Ukraine's being able to use its seaports to end of Russia's naval blockade of Ukraine, to the exchange of prisoners, and the control of a Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station. So to me, it's not a success.
Not a success.
It's an outcome. It's an outcome with very limited prospects of being implemented in one way or another.
Now, Ursula von der Leyen, president there of the EU Commission that we saw, she said this was a journey. Where does this go next? Because no country has come forward to host a potential second summit.
Well, this is a really good question because the journey will have to continue. I mean, I think one of the problems that many countries that attended the summit, especially those coming from Global South, was they were unhappy that Russia wasn't present at the summit. They believe that if we're talking about peace proposal, you need to have two parties involved in the conflict, at least two parties sitting at the same room discussing it. And that wasn't the intent of this summit. The initial idea was for the summit to come together with some sort of unified agreement, similar to the way how 143 nations condemned Russia's invasion back in March 2022.
But, Alexey, that point,
then Russia was to be invited and given those terms.
Okay, it wasn't the intention to have Russia there. So how do we get Russia to the table, and who gets Russia to the table? Which country? Who has that sway, that influence? Because that really is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think if the invitation will come from Kiev or Brussels or Washington, Russia will react in any way. I believe the invitation needs to come from a third party. It may be Turkey, it may be Saudi Arabia, it may be China, but under current circumstances, especially after the Russians continue to insist that they seriously question Volodymyr Zelensky's legitimacy after his presidential term formally ended, that they would react in one way or another. They are not going to accept a platform that would be proposed to them by a Western nation, leave alone Ukraine. So they would rather go for a third-party platform, and perhaps as a mediator coming from Global South. And I think then the Russians would be willing to come forward and participate in one form or another.
So that mediator, you say, could be either Turkey, Saudi Arabia, or China.
One of the options, but they would certainly be one of the first that I would consider.
All right, we'll leave it there. Alexey, thank you so much for your analysis. Alexey Muraviev for speaking to us there from Curtin University. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.